There we go. I'm sorry. I need to sneeze. Pardon me. All right. Hello and welcome. I'm Stooge. Today, we are continuing our adventures in the Great Asatani, where we are continuing the defense of Mr. McGilded, who is accused of committing a debtor of his. That is to say, someone who was indebted to him. Give me a moment while I make sure my now live notification got out on my Discord, which you can join here. And then we will get started. Even though I've already got the game launched because I got ahead of myself. It's what I do sometimes. Oh, I forgot to turn on the controller. Turn up the audio. And minimize that. Alright. And now we are ready to continue. We were just getting back. We were getting around to a new testimony by all the witnesses, because it turns out that he was charging everybody 5 pence rather than 4 pence. He is also indebted to Mr. McGilded, and his debt is coming due. It is very possible that perhaps he's trying to frame Mr. McGilded. And then I don't know anything about this fellow, other than they're apparently a haber. A haberdash. A hat maker. Alright. A hatter. There we go. Take your pick. He doesn't seem quite mad, though. What the witnesses really saw. There was blood on both hands of the assailant. I sincerely and distinctly remember that. However, I suppose you might say that I didn't see the exact moment of the stabbing transpired, if that matters. I remember seeing the knife, and I remember seeing both of the attacker's hands with blood on them. I didn't actually see anything myself. No, not until I heard that scream. Anyway, the fact remains, there can't have been anyone else inside that carriage, or we all would have seen. I say. Well, lo and behold, in truth or fact, not one of you was witness to the crucial moment the crime was perpetrated. I apologize, my lord, but honestly, there was no one else inside that carriage, and the man's hands were covered in blood. Yeah, that much incriminating evidence is tantamount to saying we saw the man do it. That's not really what testimony is about. Let us examine the interior of the omnibus once more. The victim's fresh blood is clearly visible on the seat, corroborating the witness's account. In other words, there is no substantial nor significant change in facts of the case, except for the location of the blood. So, we take a look at the court record and we ourselves examine it. Okay. So, if we look here, this is where the murder took place. Right? You can clearly see the fresh blood. right? And that makes sense. There's only one door on the carriage. And there we go. But if we look at the picture of the crime, he's next to the door, which is not where the murder took place. He's been moved. Also, there's a button missing. Where is the button? Button, who's got the button? So this photograph and this don't mesh. Very well. Your cross-examination, please, counsel. Yes, my lord. All right. Let us see what we find. All right.
Hold it!
Hold it! No, the evidence tells us otherwise. We have the gloves of the defendant was wearing on the night in question in the court record. I'm well aware of that, sir, but nevertheless, I know what I saw and I stand by it. The man had blood on both his hands. He's defiant, even in the face of hard evidence. He's steadfastly refusing to admit that he might be mistaken about what he saw. But why? Your reasoning is dire. One hand or two, the salient point remains unchanged. Minutes after the grim crime, the victim's blood dripped guiltily from the accused's fingers. Whoopsie. No. I want to go back here and I want to press him. Don't try to downplay this. Whether or not you saw the exact moment of the crime is a matter of fundamental importance, as well you know. For crying out loud. For crying out loud. We all know no one else could have possibly done it. I was just trying to save us all some time. You have a loan of 20 guineas outstanding to the defendant, do you not? Had you hoped to release yourself from that financial burden by ensuring the defendant was found guilty, that's not what I was hoping for. I just lost a little guinea or 10 when I backed the wrong horse in the Derby, that's all. I was going to win it all back. There's a fixture this weekend. That's a sure thing. A little guinea or 10? I'm a banker. No one bats an eye if I borrow a little spending money for the weekend. Maybe they should. Especially if you're not a teller, but you're actually in the head of the bank. I mean, could you imagine if Mr. Banks borrowed money? I think you have revealed rather more about your character than you bargained for, sir. This witness scruples are not on trial here. Actually, they kind of are. Because if he's willing to lie about what he said in the hopes of getting out of the debt that is owed Mr. McGilded, because, you know, he's dead. That definitely kind of puts his scruples on trial if he's willing to lie. He's already been found to be prejudicious. I can't say the dang word, but yeah. He's already been found to have committed perjury. There we go. Proceed to the next witness. Is that really how it's supposed to work?
Hold it!
You definitely saw that too. Blood on both hands? Yes, sir. I mean, I know what you're going to say. Only one of Mr. McGilded's gloves has any signs of blood on it. That's right. The thing is, as far as I remember, sir, when I looked down and saw Mr. McGilded sitting beside the other fellow, I don't believe he was wearing any gloves, sir. He wasn't wearing these gloves. Alright, let's take a look at the court. Let's see, can I rotate these? Well, I can't turn them inside out to look. But I don't see any signs of blood being on the inside. That's correct, sir. And I saw the blood on both his bare hands quite clearly. I want to take a look at something else. Right, there's no blood on the knife. At least not the handle. And we already found the W. It's true that the dark colored stain on the dark leather gloves wouldn't have been easy to see. Well, I should point out that the police officer who apprehended the accused on the night in question reported that there was no trace on Mr. McGilded's gloves' hands. There wasn't blood on his hands? This is puzzling indeed. Why don't we have the police report? This must be significant somehow, I'm sure of it. I didn't... Oh,
Hold it!
You didn't see anything. Oh, yes, sir. There's no way to say no. That is to say, no, sir. I didn't see anything. I'm very sorry, but about what I said before, sir. Very sorry, yes. It was a very wrong of me to make up stories and say I saw him stab the man. Wouldn't you agree, sir? I know what you're insinuating, but I clearly wasn't making up stories. Still, to say you saw something, say you saw nothing isn't right either, is it? No, sir. I saw nothing at all. Mr. Beppo, you were driving your horse. At the very least, you must have enjoyed a good view of London streets, no? How does this pertain to the trial in any way? Anyone have any ideas? Oh, please. Can you even see that? It was cold that night, you see. It was all I could do to keep from passing out, sir. Yes, my head was fairly froze solid. Sorry to say, sir. It would seem prudent to avoid traveling on the last omnibus service of London's cold winter nights. Beppo! Ah! Alright, so somewhere we have a contradiction in what they've said.
Hold it!
I didn't mean to do that. Well, it gives me an option. It gives me the ability to do this without the risk of possibly doing a presentation of evidence. Alright, hemorrhaging as a result of a single stab wound in the abdomen. Photograph taken of the omnibus, of the victim taken on the omnibus. The knife in his abdomen is clearly visible, but his face is partially obscured from view by an old crooked hat. The gloves. This. The large knife. Bruce Fairplay, who would have been due imminently. So what am I missing here? What is the contradiction I'm missing? Oh yes, I remember. Oh. That was something new. Alright, let's take a look at the history. And everything you saw of the incident was through the skylight on the roof of the omnibus. That's right. It was fiercely cold that night, but the glass wasn't frosted over. Oh yes, I remember. I was shivering. It was so bitter. Which rather begs the question why the pair of you were sitting on the roof deck in the first place. I don't know about this young fellow, but I couldn't enter the cabin. Oh, why not? It was locked from the inside. I tried knocking, but no one opened the door. It was locked. That's right. And it's a public bus service, for pity's sake. That's not what I call fair play. Okay, let's take a quick look. I wish I could skip this faster. I don't see a way that it could be locked. Have you seen enough? So yeah, I don't see a lock. Does anyone see a lock? Yes, I had exactly the same experience. I tried knocking, but the gent inside just gestured at me to clear off. So I had no choice but to climb up to the roof deck and look down longingly into the warm cabin below. Well, I can assure you, I wasn't just looking down, I was glaring long and hard. That's precisely why I can tell you with absolute confidence that if there was anyone else in the cabin at all, I would have noticed. Unequivocal, I would say. I'm not sure about these two witnesses. Could they really have seen everything inside the cabin through the skylight? They might not have been able to see. They might not have been able to. Allow me to confirm one thing, Mr. Fairplay. You were riding the omnibus and witnessed the events of the cabin through the skylight on the floor in the upper deck, is that right? That's right, yes. In that case, there is a portion of the cabin interior that would have been out of sight from you. What? By golly, really? Obviously, at this stage, we can't say for sure. But the possibility cannot be denied. At the time of the incident, there could have been another passenger in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus.
Objection.
Enough hypothetical meandering, my Nippon-ese friend. The prosecution demands that you substantiate your claims. After all, the scene of the crime is here, in the flesh. The tree flesh. Very well, I will uphold the prosecution's demand. You will identify the area of this cross-sectional plan of the omnibus. Where exactly in the omnibus are you suggesting that a potential extra passenger could have been situated? Oh, I keep pressing A, not Y.
Take that!
Both rows of seats on the roof face in the direction of travel, whereas the seats enclosed in the cabin face each other, which means the visible part of the cabin, which passengers on the roof deck can see through the skylight, is as I've drawn here. Ah! That's right, my lord. As you can see, the seat opposite of the one the victim and his attacker were sitting is obscured from view. In other words, if someone had been sitting on that seat, it's quite possible that these witnesses would have been completely unaware of it. Grr.
Objection!
It's quite possible some phantom was sitting there. You Nipponese have a forbidding habit of obscuring the truth with ambiguity. Actually, that's not at all the case. I concur with the prosecution's rejoinder. In the British court of law, evidence is paramount. I cannot entertain this conjecture, counsel. That is, unless you're able to put a name to this mysterious passenger whom you allude. Can you, Mr. Naruhodo? I honestly don't know. Who could it have been? Who could have been in the other seat, which was out of sight from the witnesses on the roof deck? I have an inkling. I understand, my lord. The defense would like to put forward a name. You are a fool. That response was a desperate attempt by a man who has no notion of his limitations. A toast to hard lessons not yet learned. Let us not delay, counsel. The defense is still to name the passenger in the other seat. This could be it. This could be the chance I've been waiting for to turn the trial in my favor. On that night, the night of the murder, the person occupying the seat in the omnibus in that cabin that was obscured from view was All right. We're gonna do a quick save because I'm about to. I get the impression I'm about to have really screwed up. Because I was I didn't think.
Take that!
But I might not be able to. The passenger in the enclosed cabin that the witness on the roof deck failed to see has to have been Mr. Magnus McGilded. Yeah, Mr. McGilded? What are you talking about, counsel? That's the name of the defendant. Apparently I chose correctly.
Objection!
If I desecrate this chamber by smashing my hollow chalice, do forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zeeks. People talk of those tiny island nations in the Far East as having a learning and culture of their own. But I see they use the terms ill-advisedly. What are you trying to say? Let me explain in terms that even a student of an artless backwater such as yourself might understand. When the bloody scene unfolded, the victim and his assailant were sitting side by side. Multiple witnesses have attested to the fact, and it was the very premise on which this case is built. Yeah, your point.
Objection!
But that premise may be wrong. What? If the victim really was sitting beside Mr. McGilded, it creates an inconsistency that can't be reconciled in any way. What inconsistency, counsel? The defendant's gloves, my lord. Both witnesses made the same testimony. They claim there was blood on both hands of the witness sitting next to the victim.
Objection!
Yet we know the truth to be otherwise. Only one glove bears the gory remains.
Objection!
The point is, even in the face of this irrefutable evidence, both witnesses have maintained their stance. Yes, their testimony remains unchanged. Exactly. They both adamantly swear that they clearly remember seeing blood on both hands of the assailant. In short, their memory of events is correct, and their testimony reveals the truth. It was somebody else sitting beside the victim that night, a third party we have yet to identify. And the victim's blood was on that passenger's hands, both of them.
Objection!
And who was this third party? Obviously, the true culprit. Which Mr. McGilded has not felt inclined to give us information about. Extraordinary! Order, order, order! What exactly are you postulating?
Objection!
The defense's postulation is just that, nothing more than conjecture. The witnesses have clearly stated that they saw the accused.
Objection!
But when elaborating on his testimony, Mr. Fairplay said the two of them were wearing hats and couldn't exactly make out their faces. Yes. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest. The tops of their heads were obscured by the roof. I could see the rest of them, though. Yes, that's right. Both gents were most certainly hatted. Hatters do tend to notice such things, sir. And what particular style of hat did the two gents sport, Mr. First? I'm afraid I don't remember. And you call yourself a hatter? The style of hat makes no difference. There was no third passenger in that cabin. How can you be so sure? Because if there had been, the accused, Mr. McGilded, would undoubtedly have offered to depose that fact. There you go. Someone bringing up my point. Unless, that is, you are proposing an event more preposterous, even more preposterous explanation. Unless you are proposing an even more preposterous explanation. That the accused failed to even notice the presence of the true culprit in the cabin in which he traveled. Ah! Yeah, that was my question. He's right. If there was another person traveling in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus, it's inconceivable that Mr. McGilded would have been unaware of it. Order! There is clearly a simple solution to this problem. Bring the accused, Mr. Gilded, to the stand. Mr. McGilded to the stand. Well, what say you, counsel? The prosecution objects, my lord. On what grounds? As a suspect, he will have already made a full statement to the police. That matters not. But what if there's some reason he was unable to speak freely? Magnus McGilded is no uneducated ruffian. I don't know what that has to do with anything. There are many rich and wealthy people who have other people they must answer to because of knowledge. If it indeed turns out the man has been withholding information, you can be sure it will have been a most deliberate act. Yes, and shouldn't we get to the heart of that matter? Counsel for the defense, what is your opinion? My lord? Should we ask Mr. McGilded to testify or not? Alright. Whoops. Alright, give me a moment. Excuse me. Yes, we need to hear what he has to say in order to find out the truth. The defense would like to call Mr. McGilded to the stand. In that case, I would like to hear the opinion of the jury. Ah, yes, I need more time to consider. Raise your hand if you think we have a murderer here. If you ask me, I think we should hear what Mr. McGilded has to say. Get the man out here, I say! It would be utterly illogical not to hear his testimony. When something needs doing, get it done. That's how I run things at the guild. Hearing what the patron of my favorite little park has to say. Oh yes, that would be lovely. Yes, the jury says the man must be heard. Very well, the court will hear the defendant's testimony. Bailiffs, show the defendant to the stand at once. Now maybe we can actually... Now maybe what actually happened that night will finally become clear. Oh, don't get your hopes up too much. Let proceedings be resumed. Mr. McGilded, have you been listening to the discourse of the day? To be sure I have, my lord. There are now two matters on which the court desires to hear from you. The first is whether or not there was a third party with you in the omnibus cabin, as proposed by the defense. The second is that if such a person was indeed present, why did you conceal the fact from the police? Begad, no, 'tis not in my nature to hide anything at all. I can't do an Irish accent, I'm sorry. Just answer the questions, please. The truth of the matter is, I've been desperate about this all along. Now we're going Australian? Alright. Do I tells you all or keep my mouth shut? Tell us what, Mr. McGilded? The fine fella representing me is absolutely right. In the carriage on the night with myself and the other man, there was another passenger. It's true. Aye. And 'twas me who helped the little urchin get away after it all happened. You... What? Dig, boys, diggity dig, boys. No, Magnus McGilded. A convenient excuse can't save you now. Hey, hello, Pokey. You're running a little bit late. What is this? Why? No, Magnus McGilded, that convenient excuse can't save you now. I'm truly sorry, so I am, Lord Van Zeeks. You feeling okay, Pokey? I'm sure you'll be wanting to know why I said nothing when I was taken in by the police. I do be having a very good reason, I assure you. Which was, well, the little child was just in the wrong place at the wrong time and not in any way involved, you see. What? If the police had known the wee one was there, they'd have assumed she'd done it. And they'd hold her into this courtroom just like myself. I was only trying to spare her that. Young hearts and young minds are easily damaged, my lord. Pokey, why are you just emoting? Have you been hacked? Doesn't I? And who was this young child of whom you speak? That I don't know. You don't know? Well, the wee thing just happened to be in the carriage that night. I never saw her before or since.
Objection!
We have absolutely no reason to believe this man. The prosecution calls for the witness statements to be disregarded by the court. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if the urchin isn't here in this courtroom as we speak, listening to proceedings. Ah, smoke! Ah, fire! There's a fire! Look, someone's trying to get away. After them! It's no use. I can't see a thing through all the smoke. What is going on? Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face. Bailiff, do not let the accused escape. Secure the omnibus. I hereby call an emergency recess. Ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom. You know, I shouldn't be doing the coughing. I'm feeling nauseous, and I have a headache, and it might make things unseemly. We were hurriedly removed from the smoke-filled courtroom by the bailiff. Amid scenes of chaos, people stumbled over one another in their desperation to flee the chamber. We had no idea what was happening. All we knew was that for the time being, at least, the trial was suspended. To be continued. Save? Surprisingly, I've not made a misstep yet today. '18th February, 12:52 p.m. The Old Bailey, defendants at antechamber. What on earth just happened in there? Mr. Naruhodo, I've managed to find out what happened. Miss Susato? I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that releases smoke. A smoke grenade? It sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use. They're just making sure everything is safe now. I think their trial will start again before long. But who would have done something like that? The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently. Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, it's a young girl of around 15, I hear. A young girl. Then could it be? The other passenger at Mr. McGilded was just talking about. My thoughts exactly. So he wasn't lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGilded, actually? There's so many things I need to ask him about, but he's not here. I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions. I'm sorry, but the defense's counsel should be present for all discussions like that. Wouldn't you agree? Along with the young girl. Who is she, I wonder? And what was she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself? There's another matter that's troubling me. What's that? The 20 pence. Oh, according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence, exactly. But now it seems there were, in fact, 5 passengers. Which means the figures don't seem to add up again. Unless the urchin rode for free and Beppo was trying to make up for the discontinuity by charging the other passengers 5 pence each. Yeah, she's right. That is strange. Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed to the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes. Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. It already has. It already has. We'll know soon enough, Miss Susato. Yes! Alright, are you ready to type now, Pokey? Because supposedly my chat is not in, supposedly the chat is not emote only. Is the chat in emote only, Pokey? And this is just your fun way of saying it, because I know you can type even in emote only. '18th February, 1 p.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. Okay, enough messing with. Thank you. I appreciate it. There's a young girl next to Mr. McGilded. Look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before. Well, after that rather eventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilded. Now then, Lord Van Zieks. My lord? I believe you have established the cause of the smoke which veiled the proceedings earlier. It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, a sort of the sort typically employed by the army. Good gracious, the army? What in the devil's name? It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery. She was caught, and now occupies the stand. Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in the courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior? Him. If I may, my lord. If I may, my lord. Yes, Mr. McGilded. I think perhaps I ought to explain here why it is that this wee lass was here in the first place, and why she tried to bolt like that. 'Tis all tied up with the events of that night, so it is. Very well, Mr. McGilded. Give your testimony. You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in this case. Just what did happen that night? It's not like the defense lawyer needs that information or anything. Again, why was the defendant talking to the prosecution without their lawyer present? Or why was the prosecution talking to the defendant without their lawyer present? Take your pick as to which is the right one. I'm not entirely sure myself. The young girl. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Then Begorra, a loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. Then I turned to find out where that scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. Okay. So, what we're looking at then, we go back to here. I wish I didn't have to go through this every time. He was murdered here. Apparently he fell on the floor there. That's what all this blood is here that I missed earlier. That's blood, isn't it? Is something wrong? Oh, it's just, well, this bloodstain is so obvious, that's all. And yet, Van Zieks has made no mention of it. I suppose that does seem a little strange. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? And then she hid in here. This is a storage compartment, but there's nothing in here. It's totally empty. Something doesn't seem right here, but I can't put my finger on it, on what it is. Okay. And then McGilded put the corpse up here. Wait. Last time we looked in here, wasn't there stuff in here? All the stuff that was in here is gone. There was stuff in here last time we looked in here. The Phoenix Wright Omnibus. So does that mean Phoenix was named after a coach? But she definitely hid in there. I remain somewhat baffled, I confess, but from what I gather, on the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding in the omnibus. Is that correct? It is exactly as the defense counsel said, my lord. This last was the fifth passenger, my lord. Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witnesses. Are you ready, counsel? Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. The young girl. All right.
Hold it!
And when you first got into the omnibus, were there any other passengers already aboard? There were not. The cabin was empty, and there was no one on the roof deck either. You were the first passenger, as it were, I see. Aye. And that's why I took the back side as I did. 'Tis the most comfortable, so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? By all means, 'tis how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, 'tis the most comfortable, and where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well.
Hold it!
A loud thud, you say, and a scream? Aye, that's right. How can I explain it? It was like the sound of someone falling to the ground, that sort of noise. So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor, having been stabbed? Well, now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. And when the sound woke me and I opened my eyes, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fellow on the floor. You didn't see anyone. But at the same moment, you did hear a scream. Ah, from the seats above you on the roof deck, I presume. Not above me, my lord, no, 'twas from inside the cabin. I am confused. But I wasn't altogether thinking, about the screaming. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before me eyes. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at me feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. And then I turned to find out that the scream had come from, then I turned to find out where the scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. Oh, whoops. I do wonder how you must be feeling, Mr. Naruhodo. Being the defendant's lawyer and yet finding myself as stunned as everyone else in the testimony, at his testimony. Let's just say it's trying. We certainly had precious little time to talk to Mr. McGilded before the trial. But we mustn't be dispirited. We must try and learn all the facts we can, because I accidentally skipped through his testimony and kept reading it as a thing. When we arrived at London this morning, I didn't see my day going out like this and going like this. I didn't see my day panning out like this. Mr. Naruhodo, no grumbling, even in your head. Ugh. How did you know? Alright.
Hold it!
You sat him up. The victim, you mean? That I did on the sea across from me. As I said, I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor, now would you? That's not what he said earlier. Tis common courtesy, so it is. I find that a little hard to believe. Ah, Lord Van Zeeks. Now, why would that be? You wake to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. Well now, as you know, I'm in something of a special line of business. The business of lending money at extraordinary rates of interest. Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is as thankful for the help I offer them as, and some would even see me dead. So I do try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. Are you suggesting you were just going to leave the man there? Heavens alive, no. I was always intending to report it, so I was. Only I had a mind to figure out whys and wheres fors first. The whys and wherefores? Right, you all. There were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddling. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do just the same? Yes. The scream he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing.
Hold it!
I am sorry. I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. And so I did, sir, so I did. As far as I could see, that is. What do you mean by that? Well now, 'tis a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under me backside. Good gracious. Under your backside? And when I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there was a wee cubbyhole there for storage. Mr. Naruhodo, we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember? Yes, of course. The whole bus was submitted as evidence, which I did immediately. There was stuff in that cubbyhole, now there's not. Why is there no longer stuff in the cubbyhole? I don't know. I'm sure it probably has something to do with wanting to make sure there was space for her to be hidden in there for. This would be a very good time to have a thorough look around inside. And that's when I found her?
Hold it!
You say she was hiding herself. Excuse me. Aye, that's right. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight. She was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, well, my heart nearly stopped beating in my chest. Ugh, you're really overreacting to this. Still and all, I pulled her out. Still and all, I pulled her out from under there and sat her up on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chinwag with her. The seat opposite. That's right, just next to the dead gentleman there. You sat this young girl next to a corpse, sir. Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So, I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream, a fellow's voice this time. Presumably that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck seats. Right you are again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly. In other words, the previous witnesses did not in fact see you at all, Mr. McGilded. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was in fact the girl and the late Mr. Mason. Aye, my lord. I was, as I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage out of sight. It is certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature. And readily confused, perhaps, with this young girl. After that, of course, with the scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses. Thank you, I've heard enough. The events as explained are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is this girl? Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. Or is it Lestrade? Probably Lestrade. She's a chancer, earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. What? This girl here, a petty thief? Order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question. Ah! How dare you? What is the meaning of this? Oh! The girl, she's gone. Open your eyes. I'm over here. Good gracious, how? What was the point in that little sidestep? I know what you lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. This dirty little dipper, you'll say, slipped up and got caught on the job. She got herself backed into a corner, and so she knifed the gin. Go on, that's what's in your heads, isn't it? Ain't it? No, not at all. This is a court of law. We're here to determine the truth, not cast. Aspersions. Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like... Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is these fingers. I'm a professional, alright? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do. Let me guess. You don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs. Oh, this was in a bag I lifted the other day. Down where they keep the four-wheel drags. So she's more into strangling. It's nice, isn't it? I like the pink best. Ah, do not wave that thing in my direction again. So, you admit that you were riding in the omnibus on the night in question. She's alright, lass. You can tell them the truth now. I'm gonna try to finish this up, but then I'm gonna have to call it a day. I'm sorry. Alright, yeah. It's just like the Irishman said. The court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. Okay. At the start of her testimony. You will tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus on the night in question. All right, if I have to. All right. I am sorry for the very short stream, but today is not a good day. I apologize. But with that, oops. I can't find a place to... Thank you, Pokey. With that, I do want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for spending your time with me. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you tomorrow. Until then, goodbye, everybody.